1 minute after. Okay, we're 1 minute after.
To me.
Okay.
You can just take notes.
You might want to say medical professionals, exemplify
Only these or anything it can be, right?
anything. You're the boss of that. You just can't tell what they didn't do right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are about 1 minute past the hour, but I want to welcome everyone to another exciting meeting here at Canyon Park Echoes. We do have a full meeting, so we're going to get started very shortly. A couple quick announcements before we get started. First and foremost, we have a card going around the room for Kaiser Permanente as a thank you because they've been so incredibly gracious to us and letting us use their facility for going on, how long ago? Almost 3 years now?
Yeah, 3 years.
Quite some time. So they've been very, very gracious.
And the amount of money we pay them?
Zero.
And exactly. They charge us absolutely nothing to use this space, their TV, their AV, and all of this, their electricity. So we're very grateful for what they've done for us. And what a great demonstration of the spirit of altruism on behalf of the Kaiser Permanente staff.
Yes.
With that being said, one more announcement. We have our division contest this Sunday at 2 p.m. At Park Ridge Community Church. It's at the corner of York and 35th and Maltby Roads in Bothell, right up from the Thrasher's Corner Safeway.
Brad's Church.
Brad's Church.
Brad's Church.
Okay, AKA Brad's Church. If that makes it. Well, we have some newer people, so I wanted to kind of be a little. With that being said, I'm really excited to introduce to you.
I want to say that Brad is the favorite pastor of the whole division. The division.
And I almost forgot. And how could I forget? We have a representative from this club. Dipendra will be delivering his international speech in the international speech competition, representing us, so we're really excited about that. Hilarious speech, so come out and support him. And we look forward to seeing you all there Sunday, 2 p.m. Park Ridge Community Church. Without further ado, our amazing Toastmaster of the day, who has been scrambling right up to the minute to get it all done, and as she wipes some sweat from her brow, Miss Julie Morton.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Toastmasters and honored guest. Welcome today. I chose a theme of CPE, Canyon Park Echoes Rocks. We are a team, and the reason I chose that is because everyone steps up to the plate. We had so many role changes yesterday that I really think I should have named the meeting Moving Targets because it was like skeet shooting from yesterday at about noon on. Who knows what skeet shooting is? So it's target practice. If you want to practice just sighting in your gun, you go out and they shoot clay pigeons out of a cannon, and as they fly through the air, you shoot at them, and that's called shooting skeet. And that's what planning this meeting has been like. I just want to thank everyone who stepped up. Many people accepted their roles in advance and have been able to keep that. Yay! There have been a lot of people who at the last minute, oh my gosh, couldn't come. And I want to thank everyone for stepping in who has stepped in. So there we go. I would like to introduce our general evaluator for today. This is Sunil's first time as GE. So let's help him through it if he needs help.
What a nice day to be in Toastmaster. Alright. So I'll be your general evaluator for today, and we scrambled a lot of roles in the last minute, so I'll introduce with grammarian. Thank Vivek for stepping out in the last minute.
Seriously, 30 minutes ago.
Please explain your role.
You said sure in the email.
Whatever. We are a team.
That's right.
Doing it for the club's altruism. I'm just throwing it over there. So I'm the grammarian for the day, although my grammar is not that good, but I try to learn every day. So being a grammarian, I'm learning myself. So I'll try to catch up, if I can, the incorrect grammar, the suggested change or the correct way, or if there was a sudden change of direction in the sentence, and At the end of the meeting, I will call out how many people and how many times the word of the day has been used. The word of the day is altruism. It means the principle or practice of unselfish concern for the welfare of the others. And from my point of view, medical professionals exemplify altruism, and the word is a noun. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, your handwriting is pretty nice.
Sorry?
Nice handwriting.
Nice
Oh.
handwriting. So our next role is counter. Priya would be our counter. Can you please explain your role and let us know what you're doing then?
Yeah, I think today I was assigned the role of counter, so which says that I'll be looking for, I think today we have few speakers and evaluators, so I'll be looking for the filler words, or if there is any space or any, it can be beside any word. There are few words here listed, but beside that I'll be looking any other words or pauses, and yeah, I think, I hope people will use a lot of them so that I have enough. Yeah, it's my first time, so if I did anything wrong, please bear with me. Yeah.
So next important role is keeping the time. Amy would be our timekeeper for today, and can you please explain what we're doing?
Thank you, Sunil. Afternoon, everyone. I am your timekeeper, the keeper of time. Make sure that we all stay on track and get out of here at 1 o'clock. We have 3 speakers. Is that true? Because I don't see
we
Trey.
have only one speaker who will be evaluated today. That is Kate.
Okay.
Jorge volunteered to step in and give his speech again in hopes of incorporating all the feedback that he got. You may time him, but we're not going to evaluate him. And then we filled in the 3rd spot with Pat and hopefully Trey to have a Q&A session on pathways, because it's coming up that a lot of people know very little, including me, about pathways.
Okay.
I have a question. So when you said evaluation, so does our counter or grammar come into this? Do we
that-
still look for that?
Yeah, you can count on everyone.
Yeah, everybody who
Yeah.
gets up here. Everybody who gets
You
up
never
here.
Fair game.
have a blast.
Amy, Amy, anything, just, yeah. No, everybody, down. You control the whole club.
Yeah, so please time those, the 2nd and 3rd speeches, but
But no evaluation.
no evaluation for
Okay,
them.
so our first speaker is Miss Kate. And her speech should be 5 to 7 minutes. So at 5 minutes, the green light will come on, at 6, the yellow, and at 7, the red. Jorge's speech is 8 to 10. So at 8 minutes, the green, 9, the yellow, 10 will be the red. And Trey and Pat, your presentation will be from 10 to 12, maybe? It's a Q&A. So,
And I'm going to take the whole thing myself.
are you? Go, girl. So green marker at 10, yellow at 11, red will be at 12. Our table topics have 1 to 2 minutes. You must hit the 1 minute marker to qualify. Do not go past 2 minutes, 2.5, excuse me. You have 30 seconds of a grace period there. Speeches also have 30 seconds before and after, and our evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes, 30 seconds before and after to qualify. And I will give you my report at the end.
Thank you very much, Sunil. Well done. I forgot, I was remiss in introducing our wonderful guest, Sanjeevi.
Yes,
Could you tell us how you came to be here today?
so, a few years back, I used to work with the same team that Sunil did, and I heard about, of course, I know about Toastmasters, but he kept driving and he kept motivating, he kept saying, I think you should come, you should come. And even today I was working and he said, why don't you take a break for an hour?
So
So I was like, should I really go?
all right.
But I'm glad to make it here. Yeah, it's just, most times it just happens. It's just the first step that's the most challenging, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
thank you, Sunil. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. You are very welcome. I would love to introduce our first speaker of the day, Miss Kate Amundsen. She's going to be speaking from, and the thing did not update properly, she's speaking from CC Manual and it's number 7, which is research your topic. I apologize for the mistake in the agenda. And it's going to be crows, our Seattle neighbors. How smart are they, and what does it mean for us? Welcome, Kate. Thank you. Thank you.
So crows, they are ubiquitous in just about every urban area in today's world. They are on every continent except for Antarctica, and you will struggle to go to a parking lot or see a dumpster that doesn't have a crow hanging out. I love crows. I've always loved crows. To me, they are smart, playful, tricksters. Yes, they get into things, but I feel like they get a bad rap because a lot of people associate crows with death, the decay, the harbingers of doom. They see them as dirty trash birds, which I heard referred to them a lot during my research, which made me a little sad. But nevertheless, I think that they're pretty great. Of course, they do occasionally hold up these stereotypes, which I just realized I need to move. This actually is a crow in Washelli Cemetery here in Seattle. They live quite happily there, so again, holding up those stereotypes, and again, struggle to find a dumpster without them. But you'll notice in these charts over to the right that crow populations are doing very well. In fact, they are not just surviving amongst humans, they are thriving in our urban communities. So that top chart there shows the projected urban growth. So what we're going to look at is the bottom one because that actually includes immigration and emigration. But this is the Seattle Christmas bird count. This was done from 1950 to 2001. So that solid jaggy line there is the crow population, and this area right here is actually where the humans are. So you can see those populations are growing right alongside each other very successfully. We don't see this changing anytime soon. Crows are omnivores, so they can eat just about everything. But how smart are they? Well, we know they're trainable, they form social relations, and they are very adaptable. This chart in particular shows a very basic way of looking at intelligence. This is brain mass versus body mass. We use this a lot, especially in extinct species when all we have to deal with are the skulls, so we're looking at cranial capacity there. But if you'll notice, the proportion line with bats, crows, baboons, and then you have chimpanzees, you have Australopithecus africanus, Homo habilis, and then Homo sapiens, those are some of our hominid ancestors there, are all kind of on that same track. So crows are definitely smarter than your average fish, reptile, or amphibian. They're doing very, very well. Crows are trainable. So Joshua Klein did a study with a crow vending machine, which was very successful. He spent about 10 years researching their behavior and came up with this device, stuck it into an environment where crows are known to frequent, and did 4 stages of training. So the first stage was putting the crow vending machine out there, spreading some peanuts and coins around. Crows got used to it, weren't threatened by it, everything was okay, got a delicious treat. Second stage was putting a peanut and a coin on the tray. Crows come over, get a peanut, free snack, awesome, life's good. Third stage, they come back. Only a coin on the tray, no peanut. Now crows are natural problem solvers, so their first thought is they're gonna shift that coin around on that tray with their beak and just kind of see what happens. Eventually that drops into the tray, out comes a peanut, just like a soda would for a human vending machine, and the crow is rewarded. It hops happily along its way. Fourth stage, crow comes over. No coin, no peanut. Now a little bit miffed. So the crow's looking around the area and they say, okay, well there's no coin here, but there's a whole bunch of coins spread around the ground from that first stage. So it takes that leap of intelligence to pick up that coin, put it in the slot, and get a peanut, which they did very successfully, time and time again.
Wow.
Additionally, crows have become able to recognize human faces, again, very successfully. This was actually discovered by students at UW who found out that their students who were netting and releasing these crows in an effort to measure them, weigh them, and tag them, the crows were remembering these students and harassing them in between their classes. So they would squawk at them, dive bomb them, very Alfred Hitchcock the Birds, not really a good time for those students. So they decided to test this with some latex masks. So you have the dangerous mask and the inverted dangerous mask, which was a caveman mask, to make sure that the crows were not just reacting to the mask itself. They had the neutral control, which was for some reason a Dick Cheney mask.
Yeah.
I have not found a reason for that yet. However, they did find out that the crows were reacting very negatively to these masks. And it wasn't just the one crow that was trapped. They were teaching each other. So one crow would see another crow, squawk at the mask, get angry and say, ooh, that means danger, I'm gonna do the same thing. Same with the vending machine. One crow might have to go through all of those stages to get that peanut, but another crow sitting up on a branch says, you just got a delicious snack from picking up that coin. I'm gonna pick up that coin and put it in there. Great success. They teach each other, they teach their progeny, so future generations are learning the same thing. The mask studies, by the way, are still going on at UW, so if you are ever crossing UW campus or UW Bothell and you see people in scary latex masks, know that they're probably just weird folks out looking for crows and they most likely don't mean you any harm. Crows are also very adaptable. This in particular is the New Caledonian crow. This is Betty here in the bottom corner. But the New Caledonian crow is known for using and making tools. And it's not just picking up a stick and being able to get little shrubs and bugs out of a tree, but they're also able to actually make a hooked tool, which is something we don't even see in chimpanzees. This adaptability was caused by the fact that on that island there are no woodpeckers, so there was no competition for those grubs in those trees. So they were able to fill that gap. So Betty here was able to replicate this in the lab. She was given a piece of straight wire, was able to bend it herself, which she had never seen another bird do, and get her treat out of that cylindrical tube. This definitely caused some eyebrow raising amongst researchers. They weren't expecting her to be able to do that. But what does the future hold for our crows? Well, in all honesty, they're doing really, really well right now in Seattle. There are a handful of species that are actually not taking a dive with human interaction. This includes cockroaches, rats, seagulls, raccoons, all those animals that have such a great reputation, and of course, crows. Seattle is a wonderful place for them. There are lots of tall trees for them to roost, especially evergreen trees, so they don't lose their branches. They can stay all year. It's a temperate climate. And they're taken care of. With the studies going on at UW, there are multiple flocks that are being catered to and watched over, health issues are being identified, so they're doing pretty well. However, what does this mean for you? Well, a lot of people see crows as pests and they try to shoo them away or they don't want them and they're loud and squawky and wake them up in the morning. However, since they have such good facial recognition and they have been known to retaliate among certain people, even if you don't like crows as much as I do ask that you treat them with a respective indifference, unless you want your windshield to be marked for all the other crows in the neighborhood to know that you are not a friend. So make friends with your crows, respect their space, and they'll respect you in turn. Thank you.
Kate, may we have a minute for evaluations, please? Does anybody else need the TV? I don't think so. Although Pat might need the TV. Pat, will you need the TV?
Yes,
oh,
yes,
I
I will
will
need
need
the
the TV. .1 minute. Please wrap up your evaluations. I would like now to introduce our second speaker. Jorge Restrepo will be giving us the speech that he gave last week. He's showing a very effective use of feedback. He requested, may I give the speech again and implement the feedback. His speech is called Our Choices Impact Our Legacy, stating that our actions or lack thereof will impact the future and as a result will affect the legacy we leave to our kids and grandkids. Welcome, Jorge. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. Our friends and families will remember you but what you leave. And I'm not talking about the tangible things. It's more about the intangible things in life. I'm referring to nature, our national parks, our streams, fish and wildlife. It's all about nature. Some of you were born here in the area and raised locally. Blessed you. Other folks, like me, migrated into the Pacific Northwest, some because of work, some because of luck, and some just pure choice. I consider myself a lucky individual. Born in New York City, I was raised abroad, and from an early age, I acquired a sense of global belonging due to the number of countries that I've lived in. I chose electrical engineering as my profession, which gave me plenty of opportunities to work wherever, or to live wherever I wanted to. While living in Colombia in the late 80s, I ran across a National Geographic magazine that my grandmother was subscribed to. And it had a nice article about the Pacific Northwest. And if you remember right, in the 1980s, late 80s, there was a drug war happening in Colombia. And it got to a point that I said, you know, no more. Time to bail out. So guess where I decided to move to? Right here in the area. I got a job in Belgium. It was about, the article was about the promised land, about a dream. Clean air, superb water, ocean, mountains, snow, nature, safety, beauty, mild weather, little traffic. I'm sure this resonates with most of you. At least those that have been here for a long time. It did with me in late 1990. I gave in to the idea of paradise. 30 years later, our cities have grown and our traffic has become literally a nightmare. The air we breathe becomes more and more polluted. 30 years ago, you would see no haze. Today, it's literally the norm. Oil rigs explode, pipelines rupture, and poison waters all around. Plastic grocery store bags going to the oceans. Global warming melts our glaciers and more rapidly every day, drying up all of our sources of water, clean water that we have. We are blessed to have that here. Vegetables with insecticides, fish with mercury, shellfish with microplastics, poultry and beef with antibiotics. So I asked myself, where will all end? As time has gone by, I've seen the quality of life threatened. So I asked myself, have we lost our sense of north? Regulations impose order and minimum standards. Lack of standards or enforcement of those are cause for disasters. Let me offer a few examples. Just nearby, the city of Victoria, dumping sewage into the ocean. Poorly constructed buildings all around the world come down during earthquakes due to no regulations or corrupted officials. We see that in Mexico City, we see that in China, we see that everywhere. Huge areas of contamination above ground and underwater. Whales washing up dead on beaches with their stomach full of garbage and plastics. That is unacceptable. Incomplete Superfund sites that have not been cleaned up all around us. And politicians just look the other way. Our bridges and roads are falling apart and politicians continue to cut budgets. The current mood is to eliminate regulations left and right in the name of profits. Despite the fact that these regulations are the ones that will guarantee the stable or the stability of nature. We are facing a crisis and we cannot look the other way. Lack of action has disastrous consequences, and expensive ones, by the way. Good or bad, what we leave behind is only a product of our choice. We can leave behind beautiful parks full of pristine streams and wildlife. Or we can look the other way and let industry pollute our waters and destroy our nature around. You can choose an item on the menu or become an item on the menu to be chosen. Let's take an altruist path. I encourage your active participation. Contribute. Make your voice heard. Be bold. Be loud and show everyone the true north. Encourage the silent mass to rise to the occasion. They're looking the other way. They don't want to face the uncomfortable. So I invite you to leave a clean, natural environment for your children and grandchildren. A memory that will never fade. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jorge. We will not be evaluating Jorge today, so we can move right to the next thing.
Do you want 1 minute for evaluations while I set up?
We don't have sheets in front of us.
We're not, if people want to evaluate, but why don't you just come up and set up? So Pat, being one of the wonderful altruists of our group, Pat and Trey both volunteered, although Trey then had a conflict. So Pat is going to do just an informal Q&A session for us on Pathways. And Pathways is the new Toastmasters learning program, and most of us, including me, don't know a lot about it. And Linda, for example, said just yesterday, gee, I don't know why these speeches aren't being, why we only have one speaker, because everybody in Pathways gets to do an icebreaker. So all of us who've been around for a while and have already done icebreakers, we get to do a new icebreaker, so those are fun. And I said, you know what, I didn't know that, and I don't think a lot of people know kind of how to get started in Pathways, so Pat volunteered to come and give us some assistance. I did not put the upcoming agenda speakers on the back so that you can use this for notes. I also one of the reasons I didn't put the upcoming agendas on the back is that so few people have accepted their roles. I think part of it is just education. We as mentors need to be mentoring our new people how to use Easy Speak and how to get in there early and click what meetings we're planning to attend in advance so that the Vice President of Education can say, oh, Tanya's going to be at this meeting and this meeting, I'll assign her a role. She's not going to be at this meeting, I will not assign her a role. Yes, Steve?
Just an announcement for if you're going into the Easy Speak mobile, on the mobile version, and you accept the role and or accept attendance, it will probably not save. So you have to literally go on your PC, because I've never had it actually successfully save doing it on the mobile. So if you're doing them on your phones, it's probably not registered.
No phone, to computer.
We are still old school.
Old school. I can't see on the phone anyway, so. So please, get in there, say what meetings you're going to be at, accept roles. You can also always request a speech in Easy Speak, and you can send an email to Kathy Nishihara anytime saying, I want to be Toastmaster. Could you please assign me a Toastmaster role? Or, I haven't been GE yet. I haven't been this yet. So that's also available to you. Page not found. Who in here has signed up for Pathways? Anybody? Anybody? You have?
I went to it. I think I signed up, but
okay.
I didn't choose my path.
I picked the path.
Okay.
It's called least resistance.
So what will happen to current CC and all that? Can you still continue?
Yeah, I believe you can continue. If you're already in the CCCL thing, you can continue.
And I can answer all those questions.
Yes.
And I should tell you that if this session goes well, I will be happy to take full credit. If it does not, it says Trey.
May I add the fact that it's going to be on video, so it's going to be uploaded, so that we can use it with
Okay, that's good to know. To answer the question about the current program versus Pathways, the current program will continue for 2 years after, oh, I'm going to break my neck on this, thank you. After Pathways has been rolled out. So the last rollout of Pathways is in May of 2018. So you have until May of 2020 to finish whatever goal you have in the current program. And if you'd like, you can work in the current program and you can work in Pathways. Or you can focus on one or the other. But whatever you have completed by the end of 2020's Toastmaster year, that's it. From then on, it's only Pathways.
Okay.
And likewise, new members will not be getting the CC or CL manual. They will only be getting Pathways.
Is that May 31st, 2018 or 2020?
May 2020. And I've heard it's going to be June 30th because that way officers who want to get full credit for having served as an
Let's
officer.
just say the end of May, right? Would be a good thing to.
There is no specific date yet.
Okay.
I've been
Okay.
told May of 2020, but I've seen others. So there's a little bit of fudge in it. What else is new? It's 2
Can
years
you do
off.
both in parallel, like?
Absolutely. Why not?
No harm in signing up.
Yes. Yes.
I remember at our last meeting, you said that the first 10 to 13 or so people that signed up on Pathways would get a pin.
Yes. The first
Is this
3.
happening? First 3.
The first 3. And that is up to Kathy because she has Kathy Nishihara, our VPE, because she has the pins.
Okay. I signed up already.
All right.
Okay. The first thing you want to do is go to the Toastmasters website. And in that website, there is the login, which is where we are right now. And I will take my fancy mouse pad and my mouse, and I will, see, this is a computer that is shared with another person. I wonder who that is. Come on. I also can't see what I'm doing. And this is going on video, right? So you can all see that there's lots of asterisks.
We know your code.
So log in.
That's a boring.
Oh, it's thinking of it, that's good.
There you are.
And I do have pen and paper because I fully expect to have questions asked of me that I may not be able to answer.
Awesome, Pat.
So I don't ever say that. So I have logged in and I now want to get to my pathways. I want to get to the program that I am working on. Thank you. So I'm going to pathways, and if you look here, there are many ways to get there. Either one of these takes you to the same place. I have already taken the assessment, I have already chosen a path, and there's a start. So here is to choose your path. I am standing in the way. And I hate to have my back to you, but I'd rather do that than have you not be able to see the screen. So I have already chosen my path. I have taken, if I were to select continue to path selection, I would be asked to take a 3 to 5 minute assessment, which asks questions like, how am I comfortable speaking in public on a scale of 1 to 5? Thank you. So they're not hard. They just ask you some really generic questions to help you figure out which path you want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log in as a member, but look, if I click that, I have a choice of clubs. I belong to Canyon Park Echoes, I belong to Willow's Voices, and as a Pathways Guide, for the time being, the Pathways Guide is a club. Wow. So if I select Willow's Voices, I can then interact with other people who have also selected Willow's Voices at that time or recently. Once I change to Canyon Park Echoes, then I can interact with all the people in Canyon Park Echoes who have selected that as what is called the home club. So I'm going to select Canyon Park Echoes. Log in as a member. It's a little slow. I have it tethered to my phone because I don't know what the logging is here. So what does it mean that I can interact with people?
Yeah, what does that mean?
That means that there's a spot that I will show you where I can ask for feedback. I can ask it of an individual, or I can ask it of the club, I believe. And then my feedback response can be sent to just me, to the base camp managers, which is the VPE, Kathy, and the secretary and the president. Or I can ask it to be available for everybody.
Okay. Well, give me an example of what would you be asking for feedback-wise?
Jorge, I didn't have time to give you an evaluation, and you would like my feedback. So through that, you can say, hey, Pat, what'd you think of my speech? And I can respond to him, Jorge, it was awful. And I might not want to have everybody in the club seeing my response. Or I could tell you a secret, Jorge, if you didn't do, you'll have a leg up on everybody else in the club. And again, I don't want anybody else to see that. Of course, you're not going to put a negative thing. I shouldn't even say that. Don't even put it down. Take it out of your head. But I can choose if it's going to be club-wide, or just the speaker, or the speaker and the base camp managers. Those 3 people that I mentioned. And why are there 3? Because what if Kathy is out of town or vacation or sick or whatever? Then the secretary and the president can step up and fill in the job of submitting, for example, the level 1 or whatever you have accomplished to Toastmasters, so that it doesn't go.
Will we still be using Easy Speak for planning agendas and stuff? Okay, thank you.
It's no different than the CCCL manual.
Okay.
It's solely the education aspect of Toastmasters. Nothing to do with the club meetings. The speeches are the same length. So that's not a problem. Yes. Are we up?
Yes.
Oh, good. Yes.
Well, as one of those who has not yet signed up, because I'm going to stay in Legacy for a while, if I know that you get evaluated. You are judging on one of the things you're going to be is you have to do an evaluation in the pathway that you're in.
But what about the other roles we do, like grammarian, and is there any credit for that anymore, or how do we do it? There's no CL path, it is just pathways, right?
What you learn through the CL path is incorporated into pathways. And the only things you are going to be actually credited with is being an evaluator, being a Toastmaster, and being generally, no, not a table topics master. That's it. And once you have entered those roles, I mean, there is a spot where you can identify what role you've had, but it's sort of a who cares. Shoot, I need to watch down here, not here. So I don't care about this. Let's scroll down. This is the home page. So this is my education transcript. I'm sorry this is so slow. This is kind of annoying. So down here, these are the things I've looked at recently, or this is, it's alphabetical. So I'm doing innovative planning. And I can open the curriculum here and see what all it is I'm going to be doing. So I can see that I have an icebreaker, evaluation and feedback, research and presenting, and then completion. But it's a little tricky because the icebreaker, yes, it's an icebreaker. But the next one, evaluation and planning, evaluation and feedback, I give a speech. It's evaluated. I give that same speech again, or something like it, and take to heart the evaluation I received, and hopefully the same evaluator will be giving it a second evaluation, and then I have to give an evaluation. So it looks like one part, but it's got much more.
You have to give an evaluation of what? Of how well you do?
Anybody else? I have learned how to accept evaluation and what it feels like and what's involved, so I am then eligible to give. And if you think about it, in the current program, we really don't like people to give evaluations until they've given 3 speeches so that they know what's involved. By the time I give that evaluation, I will have given 3 speeches. It's the same thing.
Okay. And Pat, one thing, because my husband's really involved in this, so he knows a lot more, so I know what to ask. The icebreaker for innovative planning is not specific to innovative planning. It is an icebreaker, period.
There are 5 levels in pathways.
Yes.
In each path. Level 1 and level 2 are the same for all.
Level 1 and 2.
Okay.
But there's no reason why you can't use it towards that.
Right.
I wanted to do a little bit more, if I may. Let's go back. And go back again. Oh.
You're doing great, Pat.
Yeah.
Well, here, ePortfolio, that's one thing that's helpful. If I have that evaluation that Trey gave me, it's in paper. I PDF it or scan it or take a picture with my phone, I stick it on my computer, and then right here, I can upload it into my documents. There's 6 different folders, one for each of the 5 levels, and then a miscellaneous, whatever you want to use it for. And you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I'm going to do it because I know I'll lose the paper. I can put my speeches in there. I can put up there whatever I want. Short videos, 20 megs max. And with that, I think I've pretty much run out of time, but what I would suggest very strongly, here's tutorials and resources, lots of stuff, so much. Learn, it's alphabetical, or just do a search. It's very easy. So with that, I will stop.
Thank you so much. That did not get recorded yet.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are running behind. We do have time for 1 or 2 table topics, and we would love to welcome Naga up. Again, we had changing people. I didn't get the message that he had accepted, blah, 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 blah. Thank you.
Hello.
Yay!
I would like to show some altruism to nature and environment, which means I would not be printing my table topics on a paper and I have it on my phone. So I would need a volunteer for one of the table topics. So I would like to volunteer. dream about? Who do you dream about? I have, if you don't like it, I can give another one. You want me to go for a word?
Yeah, another one.
Okay. What are your top 3 priorities?
Priorities.
What are the top 3?
Okay. Top 3 priorities. 1 is becoming a better speaker. That's why I'm here. 2 is growing my practice. What's the 3rd one? 3rd one is becoming a better me, as in showing everyone else how it is to be healthy, to overcome different, we can say obstacles, but different, how to overcome things that get in your way or trip you up. As in, I just started a diet. Well, it's been a couple weeks. It's called Ideal Protein, and I have temptations at times. I know everyone does, but it's kind of like, oh, I really want that hamburger, but I need to stay on this diet because I got to lose a few pounds because my patients are watching me. So I want to serve by example, show them that you can do it. I've done it, and just push through.
One last volunteer. With my breath. How have you changed the last 5 years? In your last 5 years?
How have I changed the last 5 years? Well, one of the ways I've changed is through Toastmasters. And one of the things I've learned at Toastmasters is how to play off the things that have happened that day. So I want to correct a couple things from this meeting. Jorge gave us a great speech, and did you remember what he told us to do in his speech? Let's make our voices heard. And so I want to make my voice heard about some corrections to his speech of what we need to do. Okay? Jorge talked about the problems in our society and how everything is because we're deteriorating it. But right before that, we heard a speech from Kate. And Kate gave us some great diagrams up here about how crows are growing at the population of humans. Why do we blame it on humans? We're the problem. The problem is really the crows. We heard it. They are the ones that play in the garbage. We aren't depositing all the stuff. They go into the garbage, pick out the plastic, and take it over, scrape it up, and leave it in the water where it goes into the ocean. I'm sorry, we are not the problems. I just want to correct that. I loved your speech, but it wasn't actually accurate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Naga, for your flexibility. Appreciate it. And I'd like to introduce our general evaluator, who will then introduce his team, and we'll get to the evaluation portion. Welcome, Sunil.
So I'll go with the grammar.
No,
Evaluation first.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Evaluation.
Big Sunil. Hello.
Do you want the thing?
I feel a bit naked up here. Doesn't count towards my time, does it? Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and especially Kate. Your speech was research your topic, and the purpose of your speech was for you to select a subject of importance to the audience that requires a large amount of research. You were to collect information from numerous sources and carefully support points with specific facts, examples, and illustrations rather than just with the speaker's own opinions. Did you do this? Absolutely. From the very beginning, Kate, you had our attention. You brought humor into it, which you always do. So you had us laughing and engaged right from the very start. And you had the PowerPoint ready to go. So we always greatly appreciate that here at Toastmasters. The visuals that you showed us up on the screen were wonderful. The pictures, the graphs, you didn't have too much information on the slides, you had just the right amount. But what I really liked was where you stood. You stood right here, you weren't in front of the screen, you weren't looking at the screen, you were facing us, and you were just one arm's length away. You can illustrate everything you did. You did a beautiful job at holding your position. And a few things that you asked me to look for during your speech were those feet. Pat always says, nail those feet to the floor. I didn't see the nails, but you did a great job. A few other things that you asked me to look for were the wrists and the body language. You were very controlled with your posture, with your body language, with your voice tone. The other thing you did ask me to look for was your pace. Have you improved in this area? Absolutely. But you still need to slow down just a little bit. In the beginning, you were kind of off to the races, and as your speech progressed, you kind of slowed down. And surprisingly, your conclusion was the most controlled pace of your speech. It was also the most impactful. Julie did not stop laughing for the last minute and a half of your speech. I couldn't even concentrate on what I was writing because the laughter in the room was so loud. So yes, I mean, your material, your humor, the information you presented was phenomenal. You had a few run-on sentences. There was one where you started a thought and then rabbit trailed down another thought and then circled back to the same thought, and I think there was just one comma in there. Your conclusion was hilarious, left an impression. I would love to see a little bit more tonality in your voice. Maybe go from softer to louder or louder to softer, and combine that with slowing down and speeding up will have a great impact. Overall, Kate, your eye contact with everyone was phenomenal. Your body language up here, like I said, you were all smiles. You're a very congenial speaker. It is very difficult to hear you speak without smiling back at you. Very, very friendly. And I would love to hear a little bit more about your passion for crows. Maybe a story, give us a little bit of background on that. Otherwise, Kate, phenomenal job. Look forward to hearing so much more from you. Thank you.
So we'll go with the timer report.
Thank you, Sunil. I will admit this is one of the most difficult roles for me to do because I get so involved in the speakers and what they're saying. I was like, that's
I completely forgot to note down when Kate was talking. Like, I have nothing.
Yeah. Great job, everyone. Today, everyone qualified. But I think Kate is the only one, Kate, as far as the speakers that we're voting on. I'm not sure.
Kate and Steve, and then for
the table topics,
Tanya and Brad.
Do we have time for me to read all of the times?
No, I think
Let's just move
Well,
on.
everyone qualifies.
Thank you.
I will pick them up.
I'll collect them out.
Okay, great.
you can carry on.
Okay. So maybe next is grammarian report.
Okay, so the word of the day was used 3 times today. Steve, as a Toastmaster, he used the word of the day. Julie, you used the word of the day, and Naga used the word of the day today. Thank you. You did?
Yeah.
Can I correct you? I used it in the car.
He did. I saw it. He did. I saw it.
Only when I'm present. Okay, so 4 times. Then I just captured some creative usage of language. Tanya, I saw that becoming a better me because you want to serve by example. So that was like you're trying to put yourself in front of the people by, I would say, exemplifying what you are doing to show people that yes, you can achieve too. Then Steve said rabbit trail. I may have heard it before, but I like that sentence. It's like, it's a very, I would say, how do I say, a very positive way to say something which a person is not doing correctly. So I like it because you can present it without getting and at least I can say, because I was sued once when I used "it's not a rocket science." The lawyer was called into the office.
Oh my goodness.
So I never used that word in my life anymore. But then the other creative thing which Jorge used was choose an item on the menu or become an item on the menu to be chosen. That's very good. Very good. The other thing which Jorge, I was awake when Kate finished her speech to notice something. Some things which I like, you said good morning. Afternoon, it's good afternoon. The other thing you said, drug lord and drug war, you just combined the two together. You were trying to say there was a drug war in Colombia. You were started with drug lord.
Yeah.
That was one thing. And then you said superb water. I'm not sure super water would be like a
Quality.
I would say pristine water or some other thing. Then more rapidly. Is that something like rapidly itself is something?
So. It's more rapid?
Yeah, it's
More rapid, not more
rapid.
rapidly or something.
Right.
So that was the thing which I noticed. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you caught a lot. I mean, when I'm listening speech, I'll just go blind. Next is Amalcandra. Priya, can you present your report?
Yeah. So to start with Steve, I think he's the president, so I think it was a very short one, so I couldn't get much words to really keep track. So there was not much which I got from Steve. And next comes Julie. I think she didn't use much of the filler words, but the only thing I came across was and. Like it was used a couple of times, like 5 to 6 times overall, So, and next was Sunil. So I think here you are using mostly so. You are starting the conversation with so, and just used our word like 2 times overall. But overall it was good. I didn't find much. And with Kate, I didn't find any or words. And also maybe I am the speech was so good that I couldn't really focus on these filler words. So I think. And the only thing she started with so, I think it's valid, and she used like couple of times so, any sentence starting with so like a couple of times. That's the only thing. Besides that, I didn't find much filler words, so it was good. And next comes to George. Did I spell the right way? George? Ore. Okay. Yeah. So there were not much of the filler words, but I think mostly instead of using the words, you were pausing, like it was a silent pause, but not like using or any expressions. Just it was a silent pause. That other than that, and you used more of ands like here and there, but which is not something which you are not supposed to use in that sentence. Which is kind of blended into that. So I wouldn't say that it's not the. What do you say? Like it's not the wrong thing, it's supposed to be that way. Yeah, perfect. And next is Pat. I think I didn't find any filling words, but the only thing I found repeated was I. It was like 25 times. That's the only thing I can find. The letter I she used like a lot, but other than that there is not much I could catch. And so maybe like so it was like 3 times used so. And Steve again, I think as an evaluator, I didn't find any words, which filler words you used. The only thing was you are trying to talk about Kate, so you are using you, which was like around 10 to 12 times, but because since you are representing her and it looks valid, Yeah. Beside that, Naga. It was a very short one, so I couldn't catch any filler word from that. And Tonya, I think she used one time. Yep. And Brad, I couldn't catch much. It was a short one, and there were no filler words. Yeah, overall it was good. Yeah.
Overall, I mean, it's good evaluation. Started with good feedback and give some really nice feedbacks to Kid. I mean, the Kid speech was just killer. And overall, I think like timer report was pretty nice too. I think you're focused more on the speech and you kind of forgot to put the timers there. Overall, it's a good speech. And Brad, like the table topic, you pretty much summarized the whole speech that I'm supposed to do, but you did it. Thank you so much.
Before I hand out the awards, which will be very surprising, of course, today, I would like to make a plea. It is always the Toastmasters' job to keep things running on schedule, and that's why we have the times on the agenda. However, I can't speed people up when they are speaking. So speakers have a certain amount of time they're given, evaluators have a certain amount of time they're given. The rest of us who have interim roles, my request is to please watch the time. And if we are running short of time, make the shortest report possible. Okay? That would be, I know all the feedback is really helpful, and we all want to be very conscious of the time. So, without further ado, best speaker, best evaluator, Steve, yay! Best table topics, Brad, yay! And Steve has just a couple of announcements, so please hang on and please come to the board meeting at 1. Okay.
Wonderful. Let's give Julie a round of applause.
Good job.
Pat, would like to introduce to you an announcement about our advanced club.
You've probably heard of this before. I keep pounding it away. A week from Saturday, Advanced Club is being formed in Bothell. If you want information, let me know. I have lots of flyers. Minimum 6 speeches, and most of us have that. If you're interested, let me know. Only once a week, the 4th Saturday.
Once a month.
Once a month.
I will take
That
one of
would be
those.
better. Okay,
I will be joining.
excellent.
Eric Greenquist called me this week. Anybody remember Eric? He's
Yeah.
calling that club.
Yay.
So if you miss Eric,
Oh,
I said, hey, that's all I needed to hear. I said, I guess I'm joining now.
That's exciting.
Good.
Jorge is thinking of joining. We've got a couple of
With
other
that-
people in the club. And one more thing, people who are thinking of only doing the current education program, if you want to be a good mentor to new members, you need to be up to speed on pathways. So even if you aren't planning to work in pathways, poke around and see what you can learn. Thank you.
What time is the meeting this Saturday?
It's at 8:30 to 10:30 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Board meeting in 5 minutes. It will be a short meeting, so please stick around, board members. Otherwise, we're adjourned. Thank you so much.